What's up, everybody? Welcome to Ring the Damn Bell Wednesday night Dynamite recap. Of course, I am your host, KG, and with me, as always, my trusty sidekick, the wrestling enthusiast, Mark. What's going on, man?
I'm feeling like Robin to your Batman.
Could be. So, last night's Dynamite, man. Look, it was a good show. Obviously, I've seen better. I've seen worse. It was a decent show, but the crowd just seemed to have just been just a terrible crowd last night. I don't know if they were really a terrible crowd or because of that Raw that we just got off of, with that high energy because of the excitement in the air. If that made the crowd seem like they were a bad crowd, I don't know, but that was a tough watch for me just because of the crowd.
I didn't really realize that until you just said that. But yeah, they were kind of lame. The only really pop I saw was when Jarrett came out. Obviously, they will because he's a Tennessee boy. So
Right. I mean, even when Kid Omega came out, they were kind of like just sitting on their hands.
yeah,
So let's real quick, the only news out there right now, or at least what I've seen of interest, is per Triple H, WWE has signed Speedball Mike Bailey. So
I don't see any appeal to Mike Bailey. None.
I don't either.
He's a great wrestler. Don't get me wrong, but just he's got less charisma than Lance Storm.
And they're both Canadians.
Yeah. I don't know. He's a great wrestler though. I'll give him that. Didn't they sign uh who was TNA's former champ, bald-headed guy? Um Ethan Page's former partner. Didn't they sign him too?
Oh, shit, I can't remember his name. I'm not sure.
The Josh?
Yeah, something like that. I'm not sure.
I thought they signed him. All right. Anyways, AEW came from Tennessee last night. We had really opened with Will Ospreay versus Buddy Matthews. This was a damn good match. I'm really impressed with some of the pairings that they're giving. And I like the ending of the match too. He says, hey, you know what? You need somebody to get your back. I got your back.
Speaking of, I lied at the beginning of the podcast. God, can't believe I dozed off on this. It is being heavily rumored, and I know it has before, but this time I think it's going to happen, that Malachi Black is finishing up with AEW. He will be returning to WWE. And based on that promo last night that Will Ospreay gave, how they didn't need a leader, that those two were good by themselves. And of course, talking about
Buddy and Brody.
yeah, Buddy and Brody. Jesus, yeah, Buddy and Brody. Then I think that's them beginning to write off Malachi Black.
That's a shame. I like Malachi right where he is.
Yeah, the problem though is he's been there for a couple of years now, and he is still, has he held a championship yet?
Just the trios.
Right.
What do you hold in WWE? Nothing.
Well, I agree. But yeah, I mean, I agree. I prefer Malachi Black at AEW versus WWE. I just hope that they don't waste him any more than what both promotions, in my opinion, has already done. Because he's getting up there. He's barely in his prime anymore.
He's gonna end up like Andrade. He's gonna be good, but he's not gonna break through the ceiling.
Right.
All right. So with that being said, though, Buddy Matthews kind of reminded me of a Raven's Flock kind of persona.
Yeah.
And it just hit me last night. I don't know why it took me so long. But it was a wrestling clinic between them two. I was really impressed.
Yeah, it was a great match, man, and the crowd, whatever participation they decided to put forth into this program last night, they were divided between them. But yeah, this was a really really good match last night.
I think people have a hard time disliking Buddy because he's with Rhea, you know, and everybody likes Rhea, and hence he's kind of inadvertently riding on her coattails to a degree, so it's hard. Plus, he's just a talent. He's just a talent.
Yeah, that's what I don't know about the Rhea thing, but what I do know is that he is a great talent. He has a great look. He can go in the ring. I mean, he can do some things that lightweights do. For a guy his size. So yeah, I mean, I love Buddy Matthews. He's a great talent. But again, he's with AW, and I just hope that he's not wasted away because I think that there are so many talented people right now. And unfortunately, some of them are not being recognized. I mean, look, as much as I like Will Ospreay, he's in my top. I love the guy. Buddy Matthews should have had that match last night.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so next we go to a video promo of current talent. What struck me on that was, did Monet pick up 2 belts in Japan? Oh, I thought she was wrestling for one.
Nope.
So Private Party, I'd say to the ring, but they never made it to the ring. Came out celebrating something. I can't remember what, to be honest. Talking
They
about
were
last
celebrating.
last week.
Yeah, yeah, and this was the worst promo Hurt Syndicate has been part of. I thought that was terrible,
Yeah.
absolutely terrible. I hated it. I am not a fan of Private Party though, and I think anybody that they put with them in a program with them, I think that it really holds whoever the other talent is. I think it holds them down. I really liked Private Party when AEW first started. But they just, I don't know, they're not the same Private Party. They're not exciting anymore, in my opinion. And honestly, I wish they took the belt off of them. I wish they would take the belt off of them.
I think that's what they're gearing up with the Hurt Syndicate, because
Hopefully.
there's absolutely no reason why the Hurt Syndicate shouldn't just make them guys look like jobbers. All right. So, anyways, the Hurt Syndicate came out, offered a challenge. Then we go to a match with Bobby Lashley versus Mark Briscoe, which surprisingly was a better match than I anticipated.
Yeah, what I liked about this match is they gave Briscoe just enough so that he didn't look terrible, but not too much where it made Lashley look like this guy who's supposed to be this dangerous, talented individual that could hurt you. They didn't make him look silly. It was in between a squash match and a match with a lot of offense as well. To me, it fit perfectly, what they gave Briscoe, but rightfully so. Lashley won, and yeah, the this is what I didn't like about it was Private Party coming out to save Briscoe, and the Hurt Syndicate just not beating the snot out of them. Now granted, both Bobby Lashley, um, and Shelton Benjamin wanted to go. MVP held them back, so it didn't make them look like cowards, But at the same time, I wish they would have just kicked the snot out of Private Party. I'm done with Private Party. I have no interest in them whatsoever.
When they first came out, they were new and exciting, and that shiny penny is worn off. That's what.
Yeah.
All right. So then next we go to the Casino Gauntlet match. Jay White's number one. Hangman Page was number two. Then we go with Wheeler Yuta. Ricochet came out on Swerve's music. I thought that was great. Adam Cole, Daniel Garcia, Hobbs, Roderick Strong, Lance Archer, Jeff Jarrett, who never made it to the ring because Wheeler Yuta attacked him. Uh, there were parts of this that I thought were really good. I thought Hobbs had a great showing. His power slam was beautiful. His what was Arn Anderson's finisher?
Oh, you're talking about the God
Batista.
damn it, man! You put me on the spot. You made me forget. I have a headache. Apologize, guys. You're talking about the Spine Buster.
Yeah, that was flawless last night. That was props going out to Arn Anderson because that just looked like it was just done perfect. And I think it was done on Archer too.
Yeah, yeah, and I tell you a couple things about this. Going back, number one, going back to Ricochet. The best thing creative have done in a little bit here has been with Ricochet. Because man, right now I am loving what Ricochet is doing. Him coming out to Swerve's music was absolutely just phenomenal. Also, I love the fact that Hobbs won because this was different. It caught me by surprise, and I love when this happens. But this is the issue at the same time is you know goddamn well they're not taking the belt off of Moxley on Dynamite next week. And I hate that because on paper, Hobbs should just beat the like Hobbs should be the soul out of Moxley's body, you know. And it's not going to happen. I hope it's some type of disqualification because I do not want to see Hobbs take the 3 count and get pinned by John Moxley. But I really do wish this was at the point where you knew that it's a possibility that Moxley could be dropping that title because I would be more excited for that match. And I would also have the hopes that Hobbs is going to win. I'm just excited to see Hobbs in the title run. But all in all, the anticipation of is Hobbs going to beat Moxley just it isn't there because it's not going to happen.
So, I agree with you on that, but I was more upset that there isn't a build up for it. You know, I understand he won the gauntlet, and but build it up for a couple weeks. Make it for the pay per view. I like that they're maybe highlighting Hobbs a little bit. I think he's a phenomenal talent. Same with Brian Cage that they're misutilizing. Um, I like that. I mean, I don't think they're going to get the Kyle Fletcher elevation, but I wish Hobbs would because I think Hobbs can do it. He just needs a mouthpiece. I think.
Yeah, look, they have already look when Brian Cage and Lance Archer were put together. I had high hopes because these two should just be mopping the floors in the tag team division. Just absolutely. But of course, they got Tony Khan, is what I'm going to start saying it now, and they completely have ruined Brian Cage and Lance Archer as a tag team to the point that I really don't think that they'll be able to come back from it. They have taken losses from people they should have lost, that should have beat them or shouldn't have beaten them. So yeah, to me, I really wish we could see Brian Cage and Hobbs back together in a tag team and actually let them do a successful run of just completely going through that tag team division and beating the shit out of everyone and putting the titles on them and letting them hold on to the title for a good long time. Every belt, every single belt right now in AEW needs to be held on to for a decent amount of time.
All right. So next we go to a clip of Hook versus Christian Cage. Excuse me, and Christian Cage, not against him. Um, this really kind of loses luster with me. You know, we've gone over this, so I'm not going to get into it. But I've lost a lot of luster for this. I think Hook should just hook up with Christian Cage's group, to be honest. All right, so next we go to
Well, real quick, let me say this. For the love of God, let them have their fucking match, be done with this goddamn feud, and then move on. Because you're right. It's holding Cage back and it's holding Hook back as well. Yeah, it just needs to be fucking done with.
hey. Shh. Next we go to Jeff Jarrett's interview. MJF comes to the ring, talking about Double J's contract, offers uh, offers his help. Hold on a second here. Hey, shut up. Um, offers Jeff Jarrett help to get the world championship, but in return wants to be the first person to face him. Jeff actually turns it down, walks off, and called him an entitled piece of shit, I believe. Um, you know, I've really had a 180 on Jeff Jarrett. I'm actually enjoying him right now and where he's at. Jeff's in decent shape, but he is showing his age.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have never and will never be a Jeff Jarrett fan. To me, he's not. He bores me. I'll just be honest with you. He bores me. His matches. Look, you can watch a match with him right now, and then go back 25 years and watch one of his matches, and it's the same goddamn thing.
Yeah,
He's not evolved whatsoever.
he's a
So I am bored with Jeff Jarrett. But I will say this. This has been the best promo he's been a part of in a very long time. But it's not because of Jeff Jarrett, it's because of MJF.
yeah. So then we got a recap of Death Riders attack on Darby Allin a couple weeks ago, kicking him down the steps, whatnot. Yawn, sorry.
I agree. I Darby Allin is entertaining to watch him in the ring because he does crazy shit. But look, is he someone that should be in the main event? I'm sorry. My answer is no. Um, I don't care about whoever's beating him up because every storyline with Darby Allin, it's always the same thing. The only difference is the person who's kicking his ass.
Yeah. Um, let's see. Then we go to Adam Copeland. And he's,
Nope. Cope.
huh?
Cope.
Okay, whatever. Go away. Um, he's basically just talking about, having true grit, basically. How much he's overcome and Mox can't knock him down, all this other shit. Death Riders come to the ring. FTR comes to the ring to balance the odds. Marina and Pac come out to overcome the odds. Mox puts Adam out. And then Hobbs shows up. And they all kind of back away.
Yeah, this is probably the first time I've ever said this, but Edge's promo last night was just very sleepy to me. I got nothing out of it. The only thing I got out of it was this. To me, that was a really kind of a heelish promo. If you think about it, it was all about me, and what have I done? Look at me, yay, give me the attention, give me the clap. You know, I just didn't care. It was just nothing of substance.
I'll give you that to a degree, but you look at everything he's overcome, with the neck and that break on his leg, I mean, the guy finished both matches, and it wasn't 3 minutes. He went some time after on both matches where he broke his neck and broke his leg. You know, you got to give him. And when I talk about true grit, that's true grit. So you got
You
to
know
give.
who else did that? Maven, way back when. Maven broke his leg in a match. He finished it. So has a lot of athletes, right? So to me, again, yeah, you know what? Great. You were able to do those things. But a person who's a baby face, they're not out there bragging that, look at me, look what I've done, type of a thing. It just wasn't a good babyface promo to me. And I just don't get. And honestly, I think a big part of it is he's now kind of involved in this storyline with the Death Riders, and I am just bored to death with the Death Riders. It's just it. I don't know.
They have no appeal.
None whatsoever.
They are good performers, good wrestlers. Claudio is probably top 5 currently. You know, Wheeler Yuta, he makes a good little snake and a good little patsy. Pac, I got nothing but good things to say about Pac. Um, but John does nothing for me. You know, John
Exactly.
is a schoolyard bully to me.
Right.
So
And the top guys that are in the Death Riders are 100% Claudio and 100% it is this let's just say Pac. Those two guys needs to be separated from this dumb shit and put them in a singles run, and let them do something. Because when it comes to Mox, Dean Ambrose, whatever the fuck you want to call him, um, I just I have no interest in him. JR probably about 3 or 4 years ago, actually compared him to Stone Cold Steve Austin. And I was like, wow, you must be drinking your barbecue sauce way too much, because Mox will never be a Stone Cold Steve Austin. Moxley won't ever be a George South, in my opinion. I mean, he's just he does nothing for me. He's boring, absolutely boring. Even in the ring, he's boring. I don't think his promos are that great. The best thing I've ever seen him involved with was the Shield. That was it.
I actually liked him as a world champion for WWE. AEW does nothing for me. All right, so next we go to Mariah May, being her same Mariah May. But what got me was Harley. Harley slid right in there and just lit up that promo. I was so elated. They had challenged her to a match on Collision, and Mariah May says, "Yeah, I'll take your head off." And then she's like, "Yeah, and then you'll feel the wrath." What? I didn't hear you. You'll feel the wrath. What? I didn't hear. You'll feel the wrath. And then she was gone like a blink.
Yeah, at first I was torn about it, but I went back and watched it. And every time I actually went back and watched a couple of times just because I was trying to like, do I like it? Do I not like it? How I feel? And each time I watched it, I laughed a little bit more and more and more. Um, Look, Mariah May, and people are going to, oh, you're shitting on AEW now. No, I'm giving you my honest opinion. I still love AEW. There was just a whole lot this week that I didn't like. Mariah May by herself is kind of she reminds me of a Tiffy wannabe. Um, I don't think she's trying to be Tiffy, don't get me wrong, whatsoever. But they both have that same appearance, except Tiffany Stratton has a personality. She's entertaining. Mariah May is she's hit and miss. But when you add um
Harley.
not hater,
Harley.
Harley with her, I mean, come on, man. This was just good. Uh I really hope that they form some, not a tag team partnership, but something where they're together, where Harley is coming in and doing her thing, because it's kind of opposite of what Mariah May is, but at the same time, it works. It's like a sweet and sour type deal, right? Or a spicy and sweet type of a deal. It just works together. So, but unfortunately, this is my issue. And it again, it's gonna sound like I'm shitting on AEW, but it is what it is. Unfortunately, this is AEW, and AEW, Tony Khan has a habit of tripping on something by accident that's good, but then once it happens, he doesn't know what to do with it, and he just shits all over it and destroys it. You know, MJF and Adam Cole was a pure example of that. Yes, at some point they needed to break up. It was way too early for it to happen. It was just good. And even with Adam Cole getting hurt, MJF could have carried this by himself until Adam Cole came back. He really could have. But it's like that for so much. Tony Khan just he shits on it, and it's like he. It's almost like he's self-destructive. Honestly, that's what it looks like in this company.
I think he doesn't understand how to cultivate it. So I wouldn't say he shits on it. He just doesn't know how to cultivate it.
Yeah. When I say he shits on it, I don't mean that he's purposely trying to destroy it. What I mean is he
He
shits
does
on it. In other words, he messes it up.
because he doesn't know how to cultivate it.
Right.
All right. So next we go to Tony Storm versus Chris Statlander versus Willow. Actually, this was a pretty good match too. I kind of liked it when they were trying to keep it just Willow and Chris and keeping Tony Storm out of it. Um, it was actually a better match than I thought. There's good high spots in there or whatnot. I don't think there was too much of a lull, to be honest. But some of the moves seemed kind of sluggish and slow and not as clean and crisp as they could have been.
Yeah, but I tell you what, man, Chris Stratlander went from um from a talent that I just didn't like because of the whole out of this world alien thing to her being a serious professional wrestler. And since she did that quite a few months ago, maybe a year ago now, I've slowly started to like her. And now she's one of my top female wrestlers that I like watching on AEW because she's decent in the ring. And my God, she's strong. Now, I was shocked that Chris Stratlander actually beat Tony Storm. And speaking of Tony Storm, though, look, if they're going to do a dumb gimmick, at least do a dumb gimmick that was working, which was her other gimmick that she was doing forever. Or what was it called?
Timeless.
Whatever time Tony Storm, yeah, whatever it was, right? At least that one was working. As much as I didn't like it, it was getting over. Just because I don't like something doesn't mean it's not getting over, right? And it was getting over. Matter of fact, it was over. This what they have her doing now it's not working. And what I hope is going to lead to is Tony Storm being this person with these mental issues that she's having um in AW to the other Tony Storm coming out, the total Tony Storm or the timeless Tony Storm. Um, I hope that's where this leads to. As much as I don't like it, it's much better than what it is now. And I hope that this leads to a timeless Tony Storm because if not, I'm starting to not like Tony Storm. And it's not her particular, it's the gimmick that she's playing. And I used to love Tony Storm.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, did you watch the uh Triple H put it on? It was the classic, the what is her name? She died a few years ago. Big time female wrestler from way back in the young yesteryears. The
Moolah?
Mae Young Classic. Did you
Oh, yeah.
watch the Mae Young Classic?
Not in a while.
Okay, well, when Tony Storm was first on that, when she really debuted with the WWE audiences with the Mae Young Classic, and I was just so impressed with her. I really liked her a lot. And I really hoped that she was going to sign with WWE after that, which she did. And WWE didn't do much with her. Then she came to AEW, and it was like seeing the old Tony Storm. And then they went to the timeless Tony Storm thing, which I wasn't a fan of. But now we're doing this with her. Um, and it's really taken away from Tony Storm's talent. So again, I hope they figure it out with Tony Storm.
Yeah. All right. Well, then we go to a quick interview with Tony Storm, and she's a rookie and lacking confidence. So I didn't like that. Um, so then we go to Kenny Omega coming to the ring, the big return. He's talking about his health, where he's going in the future and whatnot. Quite frankly, I thought he was going to retire, to be honest, and take up
Yeah,
next.
because real quick, hold on. Because I don't know if you caught this or not, but one thing he said was he thanked the crowd and he said, "You guys are really making this hard for me to make this decision." And I was like, "Oh, is he going to say that?" I was really expecting to say that, yeah, in New Japan during that match, he was like, he figured out that he just can't do this no more. But it didn't go that way. But I thought it was. So go ahead and continue.
Yeah, no, I thought it was going that way too. So, anyways, talking about his health and talking about where he's going to go in the future, whatnot. It really solidified him as a face right now. Don Callis came out, and I don't think he took 6 steps, and Kenny was on his ass. So Kenny was beating the hell out of him. All of a sudden, Cage and Archer come out and start beating him up. They get him in the ring and they work him over a little bit. And then Kyle Fletcher comes out to save, or not Kyle Fletcher, excuse me, Will Ospreay comes out to save him. Now, I really didn't follow these guys in Japan, but apparently Will and Kenny don't get along in Japan.
No, there's always been a lot of heat between those two, or kayfabe heat. But look, one of the best matches I have ever seen. When I say ever, I don't mean in my adult years or New Japan's history, or AEW history. I mean one of the best matches I have ever seen since I've been watching professional wrestling for 40 something years was Kenny Omega versus um uh uh Will
Well,
Ospreay. I mean, it was just good. It was exciting. It was nonstop. But this, I was glad to see Kenny Omega back. Do I think Kenny Omega is the savior of AEW? Fuck no, I don't. Did what happened last night, was that what I was expecting to happen last night? 100%. If he didn't, I knew that if Kenny Omega was not going to completely step down, if he was coming back, other than that management role, which I want to get to in a second, that it was going to be Don Callis and his family come out to attack Kenny Omega. I knew that's what's going to happen. I didn't want that to happen because I am bored with the same old Kenny Omega against Don Callis now, or Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks against Don Callis. Matter of fact, I was expecting the Young Bucks to show up last night, uh, but they didn't, which I was glad. But this is the other issue that I have right now. Wasn't it just their very last pay per view a couple of weeks ago that Christopher Daniels announced that he was stepping down as the GM and that Kenny Omega was now going to be the guy? Now he's in the ring as this professional wrestler again, and they didn't even try to talk about the whole general management position. And is he still the GM? And if he is, and Don Callis attacked him, are they getting fined? What's going to happen? Obviously, for storyline purposes. Or is Kenny Omega not the GM anymore? He's a professional wrestler now. And who's going to fill in the GM position? These are the type of inconsistencies that is killing AEW.
yeah, I can't argue that. I wouldn't say it's killing it, but it certainly isn't helping them. Um, no, I think he was reintroduced as an EVP.
Or the EVP, yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I think there should be, somebody in that EVP role or general manager role, like a Nick Aldis or Adam Pierce or whatnot. I think they should have somebody, an on-air persona, you know, instead of Tony Schiavone saying, "Oh yeah, I just got word that Tony Khan made this match for next week." No, man, get somebody with an MVP. Would be a great GM, I think.
Well, and look, if they decide not to have one, what the fuck ever. My point is that they do this over and over again. They lead the fans this way, and then for no reason whatsoever, they'll send them this way. We see it time and time again, and it always seems to happen at their pay-per-views, right? Where how many times you and I have watched pay-per-view and like shit, we can't wait to Wednesday night because they always put on great pay-per-views. And then Wednesday night comes, nothing. The following Wednesday, okay, maybe they'll adjust the following Wednesday. Nothing. Next you know, we're back in the fucking another pay-per-view. This is what's hurting AEW, or at least one of the big things that is hurting AEW. But what do I know? I just had this stupid little podcast with only 25 subscribers and 100 viewers. And I've only been watching wrestling though for 40 something years. What do I know? I don't know anything whatsoever. I'm not a wrestling fan. I'm just some guy that looks at the TV mindlessly and watch people fighting or whatnot. And I want them to fix these issues because
it's a better product.
it is. Look, AEW is not going anywhere anytime soon. They have the money coming in from the Warner Brothers. Tony Khan has very, very deep pockets. I want to continue being an AEW fan, though. And it gets to a point that it doesn't matter how loyal you try to be as a wrestling fan, it becomes unwatchable.
Yeah, that's what happened.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. So I just I want them to fix these things. Honestly, I would have to give AEW probably a C.
I might be a bigger fanboy. I'll give them a B minus.
Yeah,
I think
I can't blame obviously the fans' reactions on AEW, or maybe I can. It's their responsibility. It's up to them to get the fans excited. But what I can blame on AEW is the lack of inconsistencies once again. It's just too inconsistent, not lack of, but too much inconsistencies. And they keep on happening. And
it's a lack.
AEW fans, the hardcore loyalists to AEW, at some point they're going to have to admit that there's an issue that has to be addressed and has to be fixed.
It's a lack of direction.
Yeah.
So anyways, with Will and Kenny, it gets down to, I think, the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
It seems like he doesn't. Kenny Omega seems to be a heel more so than a babyface during his time with AW, and we all know he's really aligned with Don Callis, and I'm just wondering how long this time is it going to be before he turns heel and he's back in the Don Callis family.
I don't see it.
Has Kenny Omega held a title in AW as a babyface?
Tag team with Adam.
No, I'm in a singles title.
I think he's only had the world title, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think, and he was a heel then.
Yep, he was.
Yeah. So, look, I am more interested in what's going to happen between MJF and Jeff Jarrett, someone that I'm not a big fan of, more than I am about what's happening with Kenny Omega and Don Callis family. The only match I could see myself being really excited for is going to be him and Kyle Fletcher. I think that's going to be a really good match. And my God, if they figure out a way and a reason to make it make sense that Fletcher, Will Ospreay, Kenny Omega have a match, a three-way match, that'd be something that I'd be excited about. Other than that, though, I can't think of anyone else in Don Callis' family that I care about watching a feud with Kenny Omega. Maybe Takeshita, but we've seen it already. So
I don't know. Well, that's all I got for the good, bad,
all
and ugly.
right. Well, Wednesday I have a guest that's going to be on. Um, Dylan Hines. He's going to be on. I'm pretty excited about that. I apologize. I was supposed to have Bob Cook on tonight. Fortunately, some things came up with Bob Cook. I'm going to do my best to reschedule that. Uh, but what's today? Thursday. So, yep, Saturday, we're going to have the recap of SmackDown. Is there anything exciting that you foresee happening on SmackDown?
No, no, I can't think of anything off the top of my head that's got me anticipating SmackDown.
Yeah, I agree. There's no current storylines that I'm super excited about. With the exception of Tiffany Stratus.
The
I mean
exception.
Tiffany Stratton.
Oh, Tiffany, you mean?
Yeah, Tiffany.
Oh, I thought you said Trish. I thought you
No,
said.
no, no, no. Tiffany.
Oh,
Tiffany. That's the only thing that I'm really interested in right now. Other than that, hopefully they'll have some new feuds or something that's going to excite me because I tell you, um, going from watching Monday Night Raw debut on Netflix, just the electricity there, to watching the lack of electricity on Wednesday night was just kind of like it was kind of like coming down off a really good high, and you have nothing else to get you high. So I'm hoping SmackDown is going to be good. But speaking of Raw, real quick, the numbers came out 4.2 million views.
which is probably the biggest they've had in 20 years.
Yes, yes. Now the trick is going to be
Gaining it.
right. I don't think they're going to, not because Raw's going to get like super bad, but this was something that was
Historical.
very historical. It had that WrestleMania feel in the air as far as something big that's going to happen. I'm not saying the show was as good as WrestleMania because obviously it wasn't, but it had that feel leading up to it. It was almost a must see thing. So, I don't expect Raw to be as good as it was, obviously. I'm hoping you can at least have more matches though. But other than that, man, you got anything else?
Nope. Got nothing but ring the damn bell.
Yep. You guys have a great Friday, and we will see you all on Saturday for the review or the recap of SmackDown. You all have a great one.